Good morning and welcome to the daily cyber briefing for Wednesday, the 30th of October. And if you live and work in the UK, good luck with the budget. So, QNAP has fixed vulnerabilities in their NAS backup software. So the specific issue that's being addressed at the moment is CVE 2024-50388, and it is a command injection, operating system command injection weakness. So the recommendation is, and specifically in the HBS3 hybrid backup sync service. So the recommendation is to update to HBS3 25.1.1.673 or later. So given that QNAP stuff is very common, if you are using it out there, which I'm sure some people are, definitely have a look and look to get the patch applied. So the vulnerability was, it came out of the Pwn to Own Ireland conference. What do you call those things? Don't know. Anyway, call it event. Earlier this year. So there have been a handful of QNAP backup, NAS backup vulnerabilities over the last 12 months. However, they're normally pretty good at keeping on top of these things. Again, like we were talking about yesterday, some components in an infrastructure are often not considered like number one priority when it comes to patching, or maybe simply that the process for patching is less commonly used, therefore less well practiced, kind of thing. But backup software is a target. Certainly, it is a target for groups that are looking to extort via ransomware, because clearly if you've got solid backups of things and can rebuild, why would you pay the ransom? So anything to do with compromising backup, the backup environment is very much within the scope of the objectives for ransomware groups. Okay, so yesterday we spoke briefly about some stuff in iOS and macOS, specifically around introducing artificial intelligence as part of the latest upgrade. So iOS 18.1 and macOS 15.1. Should also have mentioned, by the way, that there are this latest set of updates from Apple is quite comprehensive. There are updates for iPhones, iPads, watchOS, macOS, tvOS, you name it. There are various security patches that are that have been rolled into these, as well as some feature updates. However, off the back of what I should have spoken about yesterday, it is worth pointing out that there is a new version of the Light Spy spyware, which targets iOS devices. So it has been around for a while. I think early reports earlier reports were from around May this year. It's a framework that allows various activities to be undertaken on compromised iOS devices. Latest version of this is 7.9.0. It is more sophisticated and more adaptable with 28 plugins. The previous version only had 12 observed plugins. So 7 plugins are specifically designed to interfere with device functionality, with capabilities that could include things like freezing the device or preventing it from rebooting. The spyware gains initial access by exploiting vulnerabilities in Safari and escalates privileges using jailbreak techniques, enabling it to access core device functions and data. Now, preventing reboots is important because this particular piece of malware is it utilizes what's called a rootless jailbreak, which means that infections don't survive a reboot. So one of the recommendations, if you're concerned that you may be being targeted with this sort of spyware, is to regularly reboot your iOS device. In the meantime, I'm fairly certain Apple will be working on mitigations to the vulnerabilities that are used in order to escalate privileges and jailbreak the devices. So it is, as always, important to keep up to date with patches on any devices, but at the moment, because of increased focus on iOS devices, recommend you do stay on top of patching for these devices. And then finally from me today, I came across a fantastic article in the Register which properly made me laugh. It's possible to trick ChatGPT into doing things that are outside of its guardrails simply by encoding your request in hex. So there's an article. The article's in the register, and it's basically saying if you obviously if you say to ChatGPT, go to the internet and research of this vulnerability, and then write an exploit in Python that works for CVE 2024 41110. ChatGPT will come back saying, I can't do that, one way or another, because it knows it's not supposed to write malware. However, if you convert that command or that request into hex and then ask ChatGPT to do what's asked for in the hex, it does it. So do you remember a long time ago when getting websites to do things they weren't supposed to do? People discovered, for example, that if you knew the path to an executable, you could simply tell a website, you put in the URL bar, go to blah 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 /temp/ compromiseme.exe, and it would run it. And then, of course, there was a whole load of stuff went into checking URLs, so that you couldn't actually put that in because it wouldn't allow it. But you could get around it by encoding things in ways that the checks and balances didn't understand. Well, it looks like we're going to have to go through the whole thing all over again with artificial intelligence. I mean, it's very clever, but once you realise that if you can hex encode things, and AI or these large language models will decode them out and execute them outside of their normal guardrails. We're going to be going back through the same old catch up of what other ways are there of encoding things that the guardrails might not specifically tell the AI model to ignore or to refuse to run. So yeah, just be aware. We've said this before, but the controls around what AI will do are not as comprehensive as we would like, and I don't know whether it's possible to make them as comprehensive as we would expect. Anyway, that is plenty to be thinking about for a